In the sultry summer of the 1930s, when France was a hotbed of artistic fervor and political upheaval, Michael found himself on a whimsical adventure. Armed with a battered suitcase, a notepad, and an insatiable curiosity, he embarked on a journey across the picturesque landscapes of France, seeking out the enigmatic surrealist artists of the time. His first stop was the charming city of Paris, where surrealism seemed to hang in the air like the scent of freshly baked croissants. Michael's wanderlust led him to a quaint cafe nestled in the heart of Montmartre. It was here that he first encountered the eccentric Salvador Dalí, with his trademark mustache that seemed to defy gravity. Michael approached Dalí.
Mr. Dalí, what inspires you to paint these surreal and strange images?
In times like these, one must escape into the world of dreams. It's our way of rebelling against the harsh reality that surrounds us.
Their conversation flowed, touching on the turbulent political events in Europe. Then Dalí showed Michael The Persistence of Memory, 1931.
Ah, the persistence of time, my dear friend. It's an illusion, you see. Time melts away like these clocks, and I am here to capture it in all its absurdity. Adjusting his iconic mustache. The question is not why clocks, but rather, why not clocks? Time is the great dictator of our lives, no? Tick-tock, tick-tock. It marches forward relentlessly, crushing us beneath its heel. But in my dreams, time is, how do you say, flexible. It bends, it stretches, it melts like camembert in the sun.
Fascinating. So the melting clocks symbolize the fluidity of time, especially as perceived through the lens of memory or imagination. Precisely. You see, Michael, reality is overrated. The waking world is dull, rigid, confined by rules. But in the realm of dreams, everything becomes possible. My melting clocks, they are not bound by physics or logic. They remind us that time is merely a construct, a human invention. In truth, time exists only in our minds. That's quite profound. Some critics have suggested your work reflects themes of decay or entropy, the idea that all things, even time itself, eventually break down. Would you agree with that interpretation?
Decay? Entropy? Perhaps. After all, life is fleeting, ephemeral, like sand slipping through fingers. But I prefer to think of my clocks not as decaying, but as transforming. They are soft, pliable, alive in their own way. Is that not more poetic? Decay implies death. Transformation suggests rebirth.
Intriguing perspective. Let's talk about the setting of the painting. The barren landscape, almost desolate. What inspired this choice?
The landscape. It is Catalonia, my beloved homeland. Those cliffs, that stillness, they are etched into my soul. Yet, they are also surreal, exaggerated, dreamlike. I wanted to create a space where reality and fantasy collide, where the familiar becomes strange. This emptiness, this vast nothingness, it invites the viewer to step inside the painting, to lose themselves in its mystery.
And what about the peculiar form in the center of the composition? It resembles a sleeping figure, perhaps even a self-portrait. Can you elaborate on its significance?
Yes, it could be me, dreaming this very scene into existence. Or perhaps it represents humanity itself, soft, vulnerable, suspended between wakefulness and slumber. Dreams, after all, are the truest expressions of the subconscious. Without them, we are mere automatons, slaves to reason.
Speaking of dreams, many consider the persistence of memory a cornerstone of surrealism. Do you view it as a political statement, a rebellion against societal norms?
Political? Art should transcend politics, religion, morality, all those petty constraints. My rebellion is against reality, not governments. Surrealism seeks to unlock the unconscious mind, to unleash the chaos within. If society finds my work unsettling, good. Comfort breeds complacency. Discomfort sparks revolution, not of the body, but of the spirit.
Well said. One final question. Do you believe art should always carry meaning, or can it simply exist to provoke thought and emotion?
Meaning is subjective, Michael. What one person sees in my painting may differ entirely from another's interpretation, and that is the beauty of art. For some, the persistence of memory speaks of time's impermanence. For others, it evokes the fragility of memory or the elusiveness of truth. Ultimately, the purpose of art is not to provide answers, but to inspire questions, to disturb, to delight, to dazzle, to awaken the dreamer within us all.
The Metamorphosis of Narcissus is a painting that feels like a labyrinth of symbolism and surreal transformation. To begin, what inspired you to reinterpret the ancient myth of Narcissus in such a strikingly modern way?
Michael, the myth of Narcissus, it is timeless, no? A tale of beauty, desire, and self-obsession that transcends centuries. But why simply retell it when I can reinvent it? The story fascinated me because it speaks to humanity's eternal struggle, the tension between love for oneself and love for others. In my hands, Narcissus becomes not just a man gazing at his reflection, but a metamorphic being, a creature caught between flesh and stone, reality and illusion.
That's profound. For those unfamiliar, could you explain how you've depicted Narcissus in this work?
Of course. You see, on one side of the canvas stands Narcissus as he was, a human figure kneeling by the pool, entranced by his own reflection. On the other side, however, he transforms into a hand holding an egg from which blooms a Narcissus flower. It is a dual image, a visual pun, if you will. The two forms mirror each other yet are distinct, much like the duality of Narcissus himself, mortal and divine, human and flower, lover and beloved.
Fascinating. And what about the setting? The landscape seems both barren and teeming with strange details. Why did you choose this environment?
The landscape, it is the theater of dreams. It must be stark, almost empty, to allow the mind to focus on the drama unfolding within. Yet it is alive with symbols, the cracked earth, the distant mountains, the eerie light. These elements create a sense of timelessness, as though the scene exists outside of ordinary reality. Here, in this liminal space, transformation occurs. Narcissus does not merely die, he evolves, transcending his mortal form.
Speaking of transformation, there's a palpable sense of movement in the painting. The way Narcissus transitions from flesh to stone to flower. Was this intentional?
Absolutely. Movement is life, Michael. Even in stasis, there's change. Notice how the human figure of Narcissus begins to harden, turning into marble even as his reflection takes root in the water below. This metamorphosis represents the inevitability of decay and renewal, death and rebirth. Narcissus is trapped in his obsession, yes, but through art, through imagination, he achieves immortality.
Immortality through art. That's poetic. Many critics have noted the presence of Freudian themes in your work. Would you say that psychoanalysis influenced this piece?
Freud, he is my great muse. His theories of the unconscious opened doors to new realms of creativity. In Metamorphosis of Narcissus, we see the conflict between Eros, love, and Thanatos, death, the primal forces that drive us all. Narcissus is consumed by his own ego, unable to look beyond himself. Yet in his demise, he gives birth to something greater, a flower, a symbol of beauty and hope. Is this not the essence of the human condition? Destruction leading to creation?
Indeed. Another striking element is the inclusion of the group of figures surrounding the egg. Who are they? And what role do they play in the narrative?
These mysterious beings, they are witnesses to the metamorphosis. They represent the collective unconscious, the shared dreams and desires of humanity. Some interpret them as mourners grieving the loss of Narcissus, while others see them as celebrants welcoming his rebirth. Their presence reminds us that Narcissus' story is not just personal. It belongs to everyone who has ever loved or lost themselves.
That's a powerful interpretation. Finally, let's talk about color. The palette here is subdued yet hauntingly beautiful. How did you decide on these tones?
Color is emotion, Michael. The muted blues, grays, and ochres evoke melancholy, introspection, the twilight between worlds. But notice the golden glow emanating from the egg. It is a burst of warmth, a spark of life amidst the gloom. This contrast reflects the duality of Narcissus' fate, despair giving way to transcendence.
Truly remarkable. To conclude, would you say this painting carries a message for its viewers?
Every viewer finds their own message, Michael. Perhaps some will see a cautionary tale about vanity and self-obsession. Others may find solace in the idea that even destruction can lead to renewal. For me, the painting is a meditation on transformation, the endless cycle of life, death, and rebirth. It asks us to embrace our flaws, our obsessions, our very humanity, for it is through these imperfections that we achieve greatness.